Okay, this is the fourth trading day. Yesterday I lost the profit that I had made the first 2 days, and so that's weighing on my mind, probably affecting it in a negative sort of way, but I felt like I should probably trade today more than wanting to trade or seeing good setups. So that was just some of the history going through my mind here. Trying to be very focused on the material here and making good decisions. And let's just walk through my analyzation here as I went. I wrote down my thoughts. So we can see that, we've hit this resistance level up here, have not broken through it, and it's just below the highest that it hit in history. On the 3rd, which was not very long ago. And it's acting as support. This 50 SMA here is acting as support. So there is a lot of question as to which way it's going to go right now. It's kind of right in the middle. It could easily go up and hit that high. It could definitely go down and drop even beyond that to this low over here where we see a lot of orders and consolidation area. So not sure exactly which way it's going too much. This is the 1 hour chart, and we can see support at the 72.97 level right through here. We've got a lot of SMAs from the different time charts right through here. We've got the previous day's value area low and the previous day's value area high, sandwiching all those. And that is also where this SMA is currently in there as well. So there's a lot of support down here. So I really would be surprised if it would drop below that. But we still aren't really sure if it's going up or down at this point. So the MACDs are kind of important to look at. We can see the RSI is losing momentum right through here. So that's one reason to think it might be dropping. Okay, and the 15-minute chart here. The MACD also kind of looks like it's maybe dropping. And the candles are starting to form a downward trip here. Right, still haven't quite gotten filled. My prediction is that if it rises above the 312 level, which is this peak right over here, it will definitely be going up further. So I would change my mind about the direction of it at that point. So that's something that I'll keep coming back to. And we can see the MACD here on the 5-minute chart is looking down. So I think there's reason to think that this is a good trade here. Okay, here's the news. Not that it really has a whole lot of effect on me right now, but it is kind of interesting, I suppose. And it dropped down to there. Okay, so that last trade that I had in that was showing pretty decent trade, I didn't actually click the send order. It didn't ever fill, and so I ended up not making that trade. But it looks like it would have been fine. It dropped down to the place where I thought it was going to go. That was at 297. So pretty close to where I thought it was going to go. It was just a little bit higher than that. That would be more the black line there. Didn't make that trade. And so when it started to bounce off of that point, and because it's uptrending here, I decided to get into a long at this point. So here I'm actually filled, and it's starting to rise. I didn't get in at the bottom, which is pretty typical, but my stop is right here. I think that's a good place for the stop, and my exit order is a very conservative place at the SMA up here. So we'll see how that one goes. All right, I put an arrow in here to mark the place. I believe it went up and filled, and it was a really quick up, and it filled before I realized what had even happened, so that was kind of cool. And then I took a little bit of a break and came back after the opening bell, or just really, really close to the opening bell, and that was that wick right there. So this is all the stuff that's happened in the meantime. And it did drop down a little bit further than I had suspected, and now we've kind of formed a floor here, a support area. backed out to the 15-minute chart here just to kind of get my bearings, and it looks like we've gotten an uptrend here and that it's heading up, that it's made a dip down, and there's that floor right through here, and looks like it's heading up now. All right, so this is the 5-minute chart. The SMA looks good for a long, and for some reason I did a short. No, I did a long, excuse me. Good. I just got into a long and immediately lost $100 here, but my stop has not been triggered. My stop is pretty tight right through here. So we'll see how it goes. All right. And if I remember right, I actually got stopped out on that one, which is very unfortunate because I do think I was correct in thinking that it was heading up. All right, it's dipping down, and now I've kind of changed my mind again. I've gotten into a short here and gonna ride it down to this point, which is that floor that I talked about before. It's looking good so far. I lowered my stop to lock in profits, and so far I've made $125. I believe it went up and stopped me out, so I made a small amount on that. So now I'm sitting at I guess that would be a $70 profit for the day so far, which is not much to speak of. All right, and then my next move, I waited for it to go up and then got into another short here. And hoping that it will drop down. And this time I have it set above that floor a little bit further. This is actually the 5-minute chart we're looking at here. And hoping it will drop there, and I've got my stop put in at the top of that wick that had formed, and that's pretty tight right there, but I've got some pretty, I don't know, I'm trying to be really, really cautious here because I don't have a lot of wiggle room. All right, and I am still waiting here. It dropped down and then went up, and I'm sitting at a $75 loss at the moment. And then it dropped back down, and $25 gain. It's just playing right through that area, hasn't really decided where it's going to go. All right, finally it went down, and I'm sitting here at a $137 profit, but I'm still in the trade, so anything could happen. And I was just noticing there's like a bunch of flattish orders through here, so I think that's another a whale. And they're all green, which is kind of interesting. They're all buy orders, so I'm thinking it probably won't get below that point right there. And I sandwiched it there, hoping that it will take, and it dropped below all that, which I thought was kind of a shocker. And big red candle right through there. So I did make money on that last trade, but surprised at the vigor of that fall. Okay, 5-minute chart here. It looks to me like it could be acting as a support right through here too, but it also could be dropping back down to the 289 level, which is that floor here. Okay, this is the 1-minute chart, and let's wait for a rise to happen and see what we can do. And here it comes. I'm thinking it's going to get up to 304 or 307, something like that. And I think what my idea is, I wanted to get into a short at that point, because now it's looking more downtrending right through here. So I want it to rise up to there, and then I'll get into a short. Okay, so there's your rise, and it did get up to the 304. But now looking at the 5-minute chart, the MACD is looking like it's going up. So now I'm questioning myself again, and I don't know, it's just really tricky. And it keeps heading up, and it headed up further than I'd realized it did before, except that I got into a short here. So when this red candle formed, the next one was down here, I got into a short down here, and it went up from there. So I've got my stop put in above this point and really thinking that it will fall, but it doesn't want to seem to want to fall. This is slightly encouraging here. Big drop, so that was awesome. And then it petered out. So I didn't get out at that point. I raised up my limit, lowered my expectations a little bit, and it's already like 10:30, so this is not going well. And I don't really know what to think about anything here. So it's heading up, and then it headed up a long ways, and I was back in the hole again, $225. And then I did a stupid thing. I canceled my stop because I kept thinking it was going to fall. And so I thought, man, I can't afford to get stopped out. I know it's going to fall. So I canceled it right up here and am waiting at this point. And it went up and surpassed the previous day's value area high. And here's that red line of 315 that I said was like the point where I would change my mind. Or maybe it was even 312, somewhere's in there. So I'm really questioning. And you can see it's just like, it's right there, right at that place. And so surely it will drop. Surely it will drop, is what I'm thinking at this point. And it did seem to look like it's going to hit that and start to drop at that point. But then it didn't. It broke through and I just got out. So that was like a $700 loss in that trade right there. And just kind of going back through the charts again, I can see I was pretty uncertain about where the market was going. I think I wasn't completely honest with myself on that score. I don't know. There was a lot of conflicting information. I just wasn't certain. So anyway, I feel like I've kind of developed this pattern. I usually have 2 really good days, and then I have a lost day. And then my 4th day pretty much wipes out my account. And this is the 4th day. And I'm really close to wiping out my account. And I really, really, really don't want that to happen. This is the 3rd time I've tried to pass this eval test. And I don't want to, I mean, I've got a pattern. So if I have a pattern, then I can identify what the problem is, right? That should be logically what follows suit. So I walked away for a while just to take a little break, got something to eat. Trying to figure out what is the next step. So I put in some alerts, and I thought, well, I'll just listen for the alerts on my phone and then come back and trade when the setup is good, because I think that's what I need to be doing. And I'm home today, so I can. So it started to drop here and flattened out, and there's a cross on the MACD here, and it flattened out here, and it looks like maybe it's going to rise. This is the highest that it's been in history, so I thought, okay, that's a pretty decent place for it to go. I really think that's very likely. I got into an order here. I feel like this is a pretty conservative place. Set my stop order down here, and I mean, this is asking a lot of that trade, especially for this time in the day when it's moving super slow, but we'll see what happens. Okay, it went up, and I made a profit of 112, so that was good. Raised up my stop to lock in that profit. But you can see 112 is up here, so basically if it drops back down, I will just get stopped out at maybe 10, very small profit, like no loss, I should say. And that's what happened. So I didn't make anything on that trade, but it's kind of interesting to see what had happened in my predictions and all. Now the MACD looks like it's turning over. This is the 1-minute chart. Okay, so I'm thinking, man, this looks for all the world to be a drop, because we've hit resistance level right here. We're within shooting range of the highest in history, which is enticing, very enticing. But this looks like a drop. It looked like this high right here is lower than that high. We've got MACD that's dropping. I think it's going to drop. And then it went up and tested it again. So I'm just watching at this point. I haven't placed any trades since that last one. And then this is really interesting. So watch the volume shift. We can see that this is encompassing all the information from before opening bell. And then this is the one that takes in data from 9:30. And you can see, let me go back there again. The POC was down here, and now the POC is right where we're sitting right through here. So we still got 2 nodes, basically. I mean, we've kind of got 3, I suppose, but this is almost the same one. They're pretty close. And this is a consolidation area, and if it breaks through that, I think it probably will get up to that highest in history. Okay, so I put in a sell order here. Thought, well, I'll just write it down to this support level here. I think that there's likelihood of it going down to that far, and $237 if it does, so that's good. And surely it won't get above that ceiling right through there. So that's where I put my order in. Hasn't quite filled yet. All right, now it is filled. Let's see what happens. It's not going anywhere, and then it went up and it made a new high and stopped me out. So lost money on that one too. Not going well. And it's 1 o'clock in the afternoon. All right, so now I'm thinking, okay, well, we just made a new high. Maybe it is going up after all. All right, so I decided, okay, fine, I'll go long. I think this is showing signs of going up to that highest in history there. I'm just now going to wait for a good entry point, which may be right at this node right here where the POC is. And it continued to go on up. It dropped a little bit here, but not very far, and so I just got in here into a long, set my exit order up here, my stop down here, and it started to drop. And let's see, I can't remember what I did at this point. I think this scared me. I may have just gotten out. I don't know, because there's no orders placed right there. And then I got into it again, maybe, to ride it up. And you can see it's kind of pushing upwards, but there's a huge amount of sell orders right through here that this is trying to eat up. And that's kind of the holdup into this rise that I think will happen. So finally it pushed up a little bit further, enough for me to get my stop up there to $50 profit. And it seems to be going up right now. So as it went up, I raised up my stop. I believe I'm sitting at about a little over $100 profit right there, and I got stopped out. So I made money, but I'm trying to be really, really cautious. So I'm not gaining any headway here because of that. But I don't have a lot of margin either. So, all right, because you can see at this point I've lost over around $700 today. And I only have $325 left as the buffer before my account will close again. Because $149,000 is my bottom line, and they will shut me down for that, going below it or to that point. So I don't have much to lose here. All right, so here is a stop limit that's set at $87 loss. I think that looks like a good place to go. I'm trying to one more time. I can only make 137 if I fill at this place right here, and that's not a very big trade, but you take what you can get. All right, and it dipped down, and I briefly, because I was so certain it was going to go up, I briefly moved my stop order down below the SMA and allowed it to make this little dip right through there. And then when it started to head up beautifully, I raised it back up to where it was. That's why I didn't get stopped out right there. So that's looking good. And then it made a new high, and I actually got filled and made some money on that last trade. So now we have ended the day. I think I'll be done trading. It is, looks like about 2 o'clock, and I've gotten my amount whittled down that I've lost for the day to about 600, which is really sad because I was so close. But oh well, that's just the way it goes. So thanks for joining me. Hopefully tomorrow will be something that will break that pattern that I have set, and I will be able to make good trades.